Hello, gamers. We're here for week number 3 of Blue Otter Masters League. We're hopping right into Champion Select. It's Khan versus Krabs Radiant here, and we are already 2 bans in here. I'm Gofrino. This is Isaac Casts, or I'm assuming you go by Isaac's Cast.
Yeah,
Isaac.
Isaac. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of the things that I've had so many different aliases online from like the age of like 7 that I lose track. And so honestly, at this point, Isaac just works. That's like my actual name. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thankful I've kind of been Gofrino on most of my main things my entire online career. Well,
Yeah.
modern-ish online career. Either way, though, a lot of focus bans coming through towards the jungle. Although Udyr is a flex towards the top lane. I mean, Nocturne, Ivern, Vi. Okay, Karma's not a jungler, but still, this is heavily pinching the jungle pool here, Isaac. So I want to see what that puts in terms of priority here. The J4 is still available. Gragas is still available. That we sometimes see him in the jungle. Volibear also left untouched in this ban phase. So we'll see how Krabs Radiant round out this first ban phase.
Yeah, Volibear is one that I've actually like recently seen become much more popular in the jungle, and honestly, I'm not entirely sure why. Not necessarily because it's bad. It's actually been pretty good, but in terms of like the actual changes that happen for some to go, oh yeah, we'll play Volibear again, to have occurred, I'm not quite sure. As Nautilus will be the final ban on red side, something that's a little, yeah, it's fairly common in that support role, and especially since that's Senna. Yeah, there we go.
Senna and Smolder are both available, so Khan Esports going to lock in the Senna, the much more flexible of the two, but the Smolder probably the stronger of the two right now, even after the hotfix nerfs. So we'll see if Krabs lock that one on in here, because it's not like the Senna can like turbo pressure out the Smolder too easily in lane, especially without the Nautilus.
Yeah, that was the main thing that I was expecting seeing Nautilus go and leaving Senna up. Is that, yep, there we go, Smolder.
Yeah.
That is not too surprising by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, champion Smolder kind of needs to just be toned down. I'm happy for the changes they're planning on next patch, where they're removing the scaling execute after you get the 225 stacks on Q, because I wasn't too much a fan of that. Just having it a little above collector is fine. Shin's out being hovered. I know there's been some pretty decent priority on this champion now that some other junglers have been nerfed and tweaked a little in the meta. The champion has just been doing rock solid all season long. Not overbearing, but pretty solid.
Yeah, especially since the jungle pool is getting extremely pinched out here, being able to pick up maybe not necessarily a top tier jungler at this point, but certainly a solid one, especially blind, that fairly okay. Actually, we're going through, we're seeing a lot more of these priority picks just getting on champions that are just fairly popular in the meta right now. RE1, I'd say at this point, isn't even gaining popularity. I'd say right now is just fairly solidly as just a meta pick now, at least in what I've seen in Diamond and like master level games.
With the Wukong though, I'm assuming that's going in the jungle here. It does mean Khan Esports, you kind of want to carry top laner here, but also if you lock in a carry top laner, you don't want the Wukong to be your only front line here. So Khan definitely playing a bit of a dangerous game here, because Senna Ahri isn't going to be the highest damage combo here. And you can just get run over with scaling just purely due to Smolder diff here. So we'll see the Thresh being hovered, the Thresh being locked in blind. A little interesting. The Lantern, of course, helps Smolder with safety even more. And I'm guessing they want the hook here for some pick potential.
Yeah, and with Thresh specifically, I'm not too sure about the players themselves, but I'd have to imagine that Alchemist is at least a seasoned Thresh player. I mean, Thresh obviously is kind of one of the maybe not quintessential support picks, because it is a little bit more complex than press one button, but still one of the more popular picks. So in terms of level cover, I wouldn't be surprised to see that go. And considering that Nautilus is gone, the Krabs Radiant then banning away Tahm Kench, yeah, that does check out.
Yeah, taking away some Senna pairings here with that Tahm Kench. We'll see what else they want to pinch here. They could look to maybe drop a top lane ban here against Khan because the I mean, Wukong's been creeping up a little bit more in top lane, but we haven't really seen the top lane Wukong rear its head in
Ooh.
5v5 play like this. So it's going to be the Mordekaiser ban. I know Khan's top laner has been playing a pretty decent amount of that in Risen. I say a pretty decent amount. They played like 2 games, but they only played a total of 6 games this season. So just taking away one of their main champs in the top lane. See what the final response here is from Khan Reno.
I wouldn't be surprised to see another mid lane ban, considering that's what was available for counter. And yeah, there it is, LeBlanc getting taken away. And oh, straight away, there you have it, Annie.
Alrighty. So Crab's doing the smart move and saving R5 counter pick for top. The Annie, I think, actually had a pick in pro this past weekend.
I don't know where, but I remember hearing about it.
I think it was either LCS or LEC. I forget which one.
Probably LCS, since that's most of what I've been watching recently. Because time differences more than anything. But it probably was. But I do vaguely remember hearing Annie getting picked. And honestly, I haven't heard much about Annie in quite a while. So in terms of how this matchup goes, go for, I don't know if you could maybe enlighten mostly me, but also the audience. I definitely, but no, I'm not. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this matchup either because I forgot what the context was for the Annie getting picked. Obviously it's being picked here after seeing the Ahri, so I'm assuming it does well into the Ahri because you do have a point and click stun with the Q when that is up. And of course, you can just hella burst the Ahri if the Ahri ever tries to get on top of you with that Spirit Rush. Cho'Gath being locked in here for the top lane for Khan, so that's going to give them some more front line here. They have some pretty nice engage. I am definitely worried for their damage here, especially if they start falling behind, because like I mentioned before, relying primarily on Senna plus Ahri for damage isn't going to be the most rock solid game plan. And you're going to really want to get a bit of an early lead here or start stacking some dragons to cheat out some scaling.
Yeah, that's definitely the first immediate concern from the side of Khan Esports. However, my counterpoint is if you do, this does feel super oppressive to play into, especially with the chain CC. Leona presses Z, and then whoever she hits just dies.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. I would have to imagine is the idea between the side of Khan Esports. Meanwhile, Crab's Radiant, not necessarily the most different composition ever, but still it's similar in the we find somebody, they die. We're kind of looking at that sort of situation. I'd imagine go for
Yeah, and interestingly on Crab's side, I mean, their soul scaling is really in this Smolder here in the bot lane, which obviously has really insane scaling, especially on this patch, even after the hotfix nerfs. But both these teams definitely going to get very, very brawly and scuffy in the mid game, I feel, around objectives, because a lot of these picks really just want to brawl out early. You want to get a lead with Renekton in the top lane. Both these junglers want to make something happen here, especially if this Shen's out early on and then the Wukong goes 6. So things are definitely gonna heat up in the mid game. I also expect some spice in the early game here from some pressure coming up from Crab Esports, hopefully, to secure themselves an early lead just so they can just get over that gap and scale themselves into late game, aka Smolder.
Yeah. I mean, really, that is the I mean, even though their composition as a whole, well, I mean, I guess now that it's done, but as a whole might not necessarily scale the best. Yeah, Smolder hits like a truck when getting 225 stacks. So we will have to wait for that. But as we get into the spectator delay, go for one thing that I've recently picked up on because of my fellow codecasters on Thursday for Diamond, the dragon map draft. Got to do that ourselves. So I don't. It feels awkward being the person saying I go first. That feels strange, but technically I am the guest on this week, so I'm going to start with Cloud Drake. Go for now.
I'm
You have
open for Clown Soul here. I love the Cloud Dragon.
Cloud
That's
Drake
my
is great.
favorite.
Yeah, honestly, dude, Cloud Drake's amazing. But it is my
Yeah.
pick for game 1.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, it's a out of
I mean,
6 of
most
16.66 you're beating.
mostly it's equal opportunity for all Drakes, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although one might technically be like 0.001% higher,
oh
just to
yeah,
avoid like
'cause
repeating
there is
decimals.
yeah,
Potentially.
true. But then again, also because this is more so like a computer science thing, and like how there's no actual truly random events
Mhm.
in computers at all. Um, that's beside the point. Anyway, Cloud, do you know how this dragon map draft thing goes, or do I need to explain
Dragon
the
map
rules?
thing? What?
Okay, so there's this like side mini game I've been playing with the other casters, introduced to me by Moose, and it's the dragon draft, and you goes and the casters go in like draft like in a bit of a draft order, guessing which dragon map it's going to be. So first person picks one Drake, or for the map, and then second person picks two, third person picks two, and then the last one available goes over to the second caster. And so after the first 2 drakes are given, obviously the map changes depending on which soul will be available to be collected, and whoever guesses that one for the soul or map or whatever you want to call it by, takes the dragon draft mini game. And so I'm starting with the tried and true Cloud Soul or map.
Okay. I guess I'll draft Mountain and Hextech.
Okay, I'll take Ocean and Kimtech, which leaves Infernal.
And then I guess that just leaves the Joshin for me.
Wait, did I not pick Ocean?
Did you not pick Ocean? I thought you picked.
Oh wait, no, I picked Inferno. I'm dumb. I'm messing myself up. That is my fault. We'll just on that note, we'll completely forget that mistake happened because it is actually Ocean Drake left for you, Gofferino, and we will keep track of that as the mini game that we shall have between ourselves here going into game 1 and this series between Con Esports and Krabs Radiant in the Blue Waters League Masters Week 3. So don't go anywhere as we load onto the riff. And we have loaded onto the Rift after the spectator delay for Game 1 here in Blue Water Masters' Week 3 between Con Esports and the Crabs Radiant. I'm Isaac. Alongside me is Goferino. And Goferino, we unfortunately won't get any level 1 shenanigans immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, neither of these teams probably wanting to go for too much here, even though they both have supports that are pretty good for the level 1, including Krabs having Trinity as this Annie, who starts off the game with potentially a flash AoE stun if you level up the W first. But gonna be standard 5-gamer fan here. Everybody just gonna start on their
Dance
own cards.
party!
Both junglers starting top side potentially by the looks of it, although both are pathing down. No? Any
No,
top
what I
side
do
start?
find is a little bit strange is that if we notice, there's no Oracle lens on the side for Mr. Drex. Instead of getting that Vision Ward himself and going to paste that on the top side. So, maybe a bit uncommon there. If they really are thinking about that. As usually, I'm used to seeing junglers almost default for an Oracle lens start. Go Freno. I don't know if you have any insight into why you wouldn't.
In 5v5, you can start the Oracle Lens. Another strat you can do is you start off the yellow trinket, literally run, ward, back, and then buy the red trinket, so you basically just get a free ward level 1. Because realistically speaking, you're not going to be using that red trinket in a fast enough time period. But it is a bit of personal preference here. I'm guessing between these two players. I usually start off yellow trinket when I jungle, so...
Is it a case of not being in jungle main and then like always forgetting to switch off to it? Because I know that's the reason why I always start Oracle lids, is so I just don't forget to switch away.
No, it's just what I default to because I like the ability to put down the level 1 ward, and usually it charges back up in time for me to place another ward to help one of my laners towards the end of my clear. As the thing is, if I start oracles, especially in solo and flex, I don't think you get a ton of value out of it until the support gets sightstone. The ward upgrade.
It's sightstone.
Yeah, but it's personal preference.
It might not officially be called sightstone anymore, but it's like we still call Twitter, so like.
Yeah, I mean, there's the item like warding sightstone or whatever that you can build later as a support. Bit of a gank shaping up in the mid lane, though. We have it, Mr. Drex. I think here's the Xin Zhao. Look for the wind becomes lightning.
Might have a little bit of trouble with that, considering the side of the lane that Puffles is sitting on. It is going to flash away, though. Going to be intimidated there by Trinity walking up. So at the very least, we'll be able to get that flash for basically nothing there in the mid lane, which is honestly pretty huge.
Yeah, Ari without Flash Pre-6 is very vulnerable, especially since Trinity, as the Annie, still has Flash themselves, can just Flash stun, help you lock down the gank. Because Puffles kind of knew there, like, you can't let the Xin Zhao wind becomes lightning land, because then the Audacious Charge comes through, and then there's a stun that follows up, and Mr. Drex is going
here
for
it is, flash forward, going to land the stun onto Puffles. Now wind becomes lightning does hit. Is it enough damage though? Bit of almost a miscommunication there, but in the end won't really matter too much. That will be first blood going over Trinity, and just as we were saying, that's redundant. Just as we were saying a few seconds ago, an absolutely massive cooldown not going to be available for Puffles, and it really proves itself there in that gank. Actually, before I hand it back over to you, we just might have a gank towards the bot side for the side of Con Esports, but the play is going to bring him under tower. Will it be enough damage in return? No, it will not. Jim Cantore going to be able to get away scot-free, as Doofu really only takes one tower shot there, and they're going to be feeling quite all right about it. So a bit of a trade, not quite fully across the map between these two teams, but nevertheless it does sit at 1-for-1, and Smolder honestly might want to get out of here as soon as possible. With, I have to imagine, will be a lane shoving fairly quickly into him. Wave shoving. You know, I can English and terminology.
All that thing undeterred, so they should be fine. Top lane, though, Revnon falling very low. Eddie Boy does have flash here. I don't know if the Ruthless Predator's back up. Oh, slicing dice on in. Ruthless Predator is available, gets hit by the knockup though. So everybody should be hunky-dory. And we have a global objective trade just happening in the meantime.
Perhaps a little bit too ambitious from the side of Eddie Boy. Perhaps or maybe even impatient. He did also have that level 6 advantage, did have access to the Dominus on Renekton just for that extra bit of damage, and I feel like if he waited for his cooldowns to come back up, may have been able to sneak a kill there with the use of that ultimate, especially considering Revdon is also down a level. I think I'm not so knowledgeable on Renekton to say for sure if he would have had the kill, but that being said, as you're saying, there is Mr. Drex moving in with the stuns available, and without any flashes, or without a flash for Revnon, there's just really nothing he can do here. He's just trapped.
I don't know if that flash was necessary.
Yeah, a bit of an odd decision from Mr. Drex to at the very least secure that kill, but there was really nowhere for Revnon to go. I feel like, yeah, I'd be to agree that maybe a bit unnecessary to have used that flash there from the jungler of the Crab's Radiant, but nonetheless, the play will knock Pierce Blade away, and that is one way that you really like to see Thresh being played into Leona. And that being said, straight over to the into the mid lane. Ultimate used by Puffle is going to have that Spirit Rush in with no stun on Trinity and no flash. That being started right over to the bottom lane. That is a kill there for the side of Con Esports, and now a very favorable trade towards the side of Con Esports as well. Starting to gain a few more advantages, although there is Mr. Drex very close to this bottom side of the map, and we just might be getting fight in a few moments. But before we do, I'm going to hand it over to you, Gofrino.
Yeah, very back and forth across the rift here. I mean, there's been 4 kills, and both junglers have been present in both their team's respective kills. So both Drex and Jim Cantor making their mark on this map. Adufoof, that's how you pronounce it. He asked in lobby, because I remember it was like a week or 2 ago. We're casting on Risen, and we're saying, you know, Adofoof or audio foof because it looks very close to audio, or you know, Ado. And chat was flaming us saying, "Oh no, it's Adofoof." I double checked before this stream.
Well, we do have that knowledge ahead of time, which does make my time a little bit easier. But this is where I can pat myself on the back a little bit for my very basic linguistic. You know, I just when it's my own point. Never mind, we're just going to stop it there. The less I talk, the better. Go, Verino! I was going to say something about linguistics, but clearly not showing themselves there.
Okay, getting a little feisty in the spot lane. Pierce Blade now is 6, has the Solar Flare. Just gonna get the flash out, okay.
Yeah, does get the flash out of Alchemist. I'm going to have to assume that ping board that they have in that bot side Tri-Brush spotted out Jim Cantore, or not Jim Cantore, Mr. Drex. Wait, no, I got it. You know, I got it right the first time. There are times where you just correct yourself and then you were correct the first time, and now you look even more silly. Well, that just happened.
This is Zenith Blade. It misses, actually. Okay, if that Zenith Blade lands, Pongo has to cleanse there.
Absolutely, especially with the health bar as low as it was, even though Alchemist does have the Lantern available to him. That's for sure. One of the things that, well, it was support in general, but especially in the Thresh and Leona matchup, one thing you want to do is just basically stand on top of your ADC, which you can't do because Leona really can't do. Well, speaking of, we're going to have ultimates dropped in the mid lane, but not really enough burst immediately to kill off Puffles, but we'll probably back him off just a little bit for, well, I guess lane pressure and maybe a recall. Or Grubs, actually. The Grubs are up in just a few seconds.
It would be a 6-stack 2 here for Crab. So they would be happy with that. And by the looks of it, Trinity, Drex already there. They saw Jim Cantor on the bot side. Jim Cantor is pathing up as fast as they can, but they don't have boots just yet. See, oh yeah, they took.
We'll know they're there,
so won't be able to buy it. And I think that's gonna be at least 5 crabs going over here.
Yeah, that's two, but Jim Cantore is here. Will use the Cyclone, and now, since Pierce Blade has also roamed up for this, that is going to be a fairly easy kill for the side of Con Esports, going over to Pierce Blade. So 1-0, and they will be able to get one grub back, so it won't be a full 6 at the very least. And obviously extra money under the belt. This isn't over though.
Lands.
Pierce Blade will land, well, the Zenith Blade, and with the combined effort of the CC in Leona's kit, it will be an easy follow-up for Puffles, and that is yet another kill into the mid lane. That being said, health bar is getting dangerously low. Dawning Shadow will be committed. Alchemist is here. The snare will land and will burn the flash off of a Doofoof. So a flash for basically nothing. Fairly favorable on, at least on that end, for the side of the Crabs Radiant, and something they can claim that they got back in what was an otherwise extremely favored Con Esports exchange.
Yeah, although having the 5 stacks of grubs is still nice because you get the single one. If you do ever get on top of these turrets, that's gonna be nice to have. For anyone wondering at home, current stack count: 79 Dragon Patient stacks here for Palm Goat, and Adufuf has 31 Absolution stacks. So
they're ghouls, or souls, or
yeah, everybody calls them souls, but since I'm actually in client this game, I can click on it and see that it's called Absolution.
Look at the cool kids over here.
Yeah, it's like how Blitzcranky was called Rocket Grab, but everybody just calls it Hook. Like,
well, yeah, that's like it's the quintessential Hook. It's like all the other Hook champions have like a special kind of separate thing to it. As hold on, Pierce Blade getting very surprisingly low there. Should be okay considering Jim Cantore is nearby, so they can't really commit much more to that than the immediate amount of damage they plop down. And Hextech map is the one available. Actually, before we get into the dragon draft count, as you take it here in game 1, go for clearly that's clearly the most important aspect of this series is the mini game the casters are playing against each other, not actually what's happening in the game. Clearly.
Drex in a bit of danger here. Rupture misses. So does the charm.
So he should be fine.
Yeah, gonna be able to get out here. Doesn't steal the wolves, but does steal the Gromp. That is something.
Any small thing counts. Got a bit of a slow thing. What are we looking at next as a potential fight? Actually, we just might have a potential fight towards this mid
Flash Cyclone.
Jungle. Yeah, Flash Cyclone will find a few. Trinity is alive for now, but how much longer? Not much at all, as a Doofus. Dawning Shadow does claim one, and now Puffles will get another there. So 2-0 over to the side of Con Esports, and actually Palm Goat is in a lot of danger. Will have to cleanse there to take the lantern and get out, but not really much used to get that cleanse away. So still overall a very continuing to favor Con Esports.
Yeah, Palm Goat definitely feeling lucky this game. Considering Pierce Blade has not really had the best accuracy on their Zenith Blades. And that has landed load for this Smolder in terms of what they must bear. You know, you're only 10 CS down in the 1v1 here. You haven't died. You're stacking up fine. That is a little concerning here if you're Con. You want to be pressuring this Smolder harder, because the fact that Palm Goat, no deaths, just stacking up already at 96 Dragon Patience, that is a little concerning. We'll see when they hit the 225 mark. I believe 20 to 22 minutes is like considered average. And yeah.
Honestly, I'm not quite sure. All I know is that when you hit that 225 mark, it just hits different. So
yeah, I've heard anywhere between 19 and 23 minutes, I think.
That sounds about right, because I know I've heard like the most extreme examples have been in around like 15, 17 minutes.
Yeah.
So that does sound about right.
Yeah, there's an upper echelon on how many times you can just like queue someone. Dive being set up in the bot side. Revenant already has the Rupture down. This might be a little bit tricky. This Cho'Gath doesn't have a full item, though.
This flash wave coming up. I'm not sure that you can really do much on a Cho'Gath with a few Devour stacks onto his belt, under his belt though, especially with not Devour. That's Tom Kench. What I'm talking about, Feast. I mean,
Yeah,
they both involve eating things, so
they're very similar in terms of like how they're named. Alchemist does get the hook here.
won't commit onto Pierce Blade though, and honestly, understandably so. Maybe not the most advised. That being said, what definitely isn't advised is Mr. Drex going way too deep. Dawning Shadow will not find damage as the ultimate will. The Crescent Guard will keep Sinjel alive for now, but here comes the follow-up. Smolder getting very low. Will find some damage. Trinity picking up Pick Blade, but on the other side, here's Jim Cantori picking up the Smolder. Now Trinity has nowhere up to go. Jim Cantori, once again, going to pick up another one. A Doofoof. Going to make that 3 for nothing. Or not 3 for nothing. 3 for 1. My mistake. And with that, all considered, a very favorable fight going over to Con Esports, and what has been largely, at least for the last 6 or 7 or so minutes, Goverino, been extremely Con Esports favored.
Yeah, they've been just kind of inching forward further and further on the map here, you know, just a pick here and there, grabbing themselves an objective. They're sitting on 2 dragons here. That's going to be really nice. Just to stack up towards the soul here, give them that extra boost of scaling. You get that Hextech soul here. It's kind of like having a little bit of extra free late game scaling here. Could see a dive here in the bot lane. Would be a little tricky when Dominus is up, but if they're in between turrets, should be pretty easy.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you don't start running away fast enough, you just kind of can't run at all, and Alchemist is just going to get caught in no man's land between turrets. And will go down for, I mean, there's not really much on the map for there to be traded to the side of Crab's Radiant, really.
Yep. I'm trying to pick up a little bit here on this top side. Got the push going on in. And, I mean, Krebs, they aren't super far behind, you know. Only about 3k down in the pot. The biggest worrying trend is going to be the Dragon's difference right now. That is concerning.
It is.
You do kind of have to contest the next dragon here. That did just respawn, but your jungler Drex is right.
Oh, that being said, is there going to be Pongo won't be able to get away despite using everything, and actually no, not everything. He had the cleanse available, but elected not to use it, and clearly that was not the most wise decision he could possibly make, as he will pay for that decision or lack of one with his life there.
Oh, and the TP coming out as well from Revenant to deny the tier 2 play here. So you're gonna give up a kill. You're gonna give up soul point here as well. No. Turn is the end to teleport.
You alright there, Goverino? I think he cut out. Well, until that gets figured out, I guess it's just me. Hello, chat. How you been? We've got a very dominant Con Esports setup here now on Soul Point as a result, and really, it's not really been much of a trade for anything. Cleanse will be available this time around for Palmgo, but I'm not sure how much it'll matter. Spirit Rush still available. We'll finally find that damage. A Doofoof going to be able to pick up the kill. The Mom will be able to be dropped, but really won't get much for it. Mr. Drex now will get hit by the center of that Solar Flare, getting another kill, this time onto Puffles. And the Cyclone second cast will find its way onto 2 enemies. Alchemist getting very low. I'm not sure if they'll be able to pick him up. At least not before this tower does go down. Getting a lot of tower aggro though. They will end up claiming it, but that's a lot of HP no longer available for the side of Con Esports, so they will be very, yeah, they will obviously back away from that inhibitor, especially since here in the top side, Revnon, I believe, has not taken the tier 1 tower yet. Should be dropping any second. He's back! He's back! There he is! There you go, Fredo.
Yeah, I guess my
to the land of the living.
Being a little screwy for some reason. Because I was casting, I'm like, wait, where are you? The entire time League of Legends was going is because that goes through my VPN.
Mm.
I don't know what it has been with Molbet recently. They've been a little screwy, but hey, either way though, Khan still kind of putting on a bit of a masterclass here against Crab when it comes to just the macro play. Because yeah, it's only about a 5k difference right now, but this feels like Khan's been calling all the shots here. They've been deciding what happens and when, and they've
Well,
been
yeah,
reaping
not.
the rewards.
Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah, but it's not only that. It's the fact that about 7 minutes ago, this gold graph was just about even. If you want to bring it back to about 10 minutes ago, the gold was actually the crab very favored to the side of the Crab's Radiant, at least as much as you can in about 8-9 minutes. They were sitting about at a 1.5k gold lead, probably at its greatest extent. So being able to fight back from that and just with at every single opportunity, just grabbing more gold out of just every last inch of this map, it has been absolutely clinical for the side of Con Esports. And now as Baron comes up, and now that the vision has been cleared, this feels nigh on impossible for the side of Crab's Radiant to at least get in onto this Baron pit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit tricky here because you're engaged right now will kind of just insta die when they go in. You know, Drex as Shinzao has fallen behind your 0, 3, and 3. You go in, you kind of instantly die even with the Crescent Guard active. I believe the Baron's been started here actually by Con Esports. Drex is gonna have to find a way into this pit, but the entire way is just kind of lit up right now. And it's going to be hard for Drex to get into this pit. They're going to have to try, though, because he can't really give this one over for free. Kantor goes over the wall.
Cyclone does drop, and now all the cooldowns have come through. Mr. Drex getting low. Mr. Drex finally going down as Puffles flashes over, and now all the other health bars are extremely low. Trinity trying to find his way onto the back line, but without any sort of support on the Annie, just going to get blown up there eventually. And it is an absolute rout for the side of Con Esports, starting to look like their namesake from I know my history. Yeah. Anyway, centuries ago. That's still technically a correct assessment of time-wise there in the Great Mongol Hordes, but yeah, still definitely very reminiscent of that with their performance and just how dominant they are, taking control of every aspect of this map as they claim Baron at 22.5 minutes.
Yep. Very dominant lead now. And the gold lead has ballooned to quite a significant amount. We have Soul potentially spawning in less than a minute here, 50 seconds until what could be the last Hextech Dragon of the game if Krebs are unable to respond. And with how that Baron went, I don't think Dragon is going to be any easier for them to contest. Right now, we see Palmgo trying their best to hit the 225 mark. Right now, they are at 207 stacks. They're close. That is Revenon you're catching.
I don't think Revenon cares all too... Wait, I could be lying. I tell a lie. Revenon should care a little bit as he is eventually taken down by the side of the Crab's Radiant, but that's still quite a few cooldowns used, especially notably Tibbers won't be available for this upcoming dragon fight. And just that a bit of extra range that Annie gets on Tibbers to find the stun, is that not being available. I mean, you do have a flash W, which does give you a slight AoE stun, but it will be started up immediately with the knowledge that the side of the Crab's Radiant are here from Con Esports, even
Tibbers
if they are
timing
down.
out here.
Tibbers is timing out, and Revenon does have the Unleashed Teleport available, and they're going in. They're finding the target. They find Annie, and there's the first kill. Alchemist going lone. Jim Cantor getting another one,
back.
and it's looking like it's absolutely dominant. And as Revenon does make his way back into the fight with the teleport, it is another dominant fight for the side of Con Esports as they take this fight 4-0 and the Hextech Soul.
Yep. One really sad thing is right before that fight, Palmgoat was sitting on 217 passive stacks.
Oh.
So not having that mark. Of course, even if the Smolder was at 225 stacks, it definitely still would have been very heavily con favored there here, Isaac, just with how far ahead they are. That's going to be the base broken wide open here. They're looking to grab another inhib in the bot lane. Death timers are short enough that the members of Crab are just starting to respawn here, but they're respawning to missing 2 inhibitors, which is absolutely brutal to deal with.
Yeah, they're spawning to 2 inhibitors and a really buffed up team on the side of Con Esports that is now ahead by almost 10k gold. And well, at the very least, Palm Goat has hit his maximum stacks. He has hit the Smolder win point. So we'll have to see if that can overcome a near 10k gold deficit, because well, even if it is busted, 10k gold is still no easy feat. 10k gold and a Hextech soul, mind you. So
Yeah. Although in the Fnatic game yesterday, never mind, Drex is just caught here.
yeah,
They
I
died.
don't think there's anything he can do. Going low, Zenith Blade won't land, but it won't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It just won't matter. And, oh, actually, I'm going to get slightly stunned, but should be okay.
Yeah, no follow-up though. So.
Yeah, none whatsoever. It's one of a. It's a. On one hand, I want to send it over to Gokurino, but I understand why it might be a bit troubling to have anything to say considering the state of this map. I'm going to be called to stop the wave, but it just won't matter as the tower goes down. Timber is going to be used, going to try to find enough damage onto Puffles as Palm Goat does get Pierce Blade, but will it matter as there's an immediate train of kills, but now 3 for 3 as Puffles is way too low on health. We'll find another kill, and as the heals are coming back through from the Doofu, and he has that range, and the rapid fire cannon is completely safe to just auto attack onto anybody he chooses, and will feel alright to get another kill in that exchange, going over to the fate of Con Esports, despite having a little bit of a shaky beginning to that fight.
Yeah. And you can see here, because Palm Goat's damage is definitely adding up. The hook lands.
Hold on, a Doofu not going to be in the position that he wants to be, and that's going to be a massive shutdown, going to exactly
Charm misses.
but the amount of, yeah, as you mentioned, the Alchemist's hook will go just wide, and then response without having any sort of cooldowns available for the rest of this fight. They were starting to maybe feel confident with their ability to maybe come back with this one, but just as they started to gain that confidence, it's given and it's taken away. I couldn't quite fit giveth and taketh in that thing there, but
yeah,
same idea.
Triple inhib down as well, so yeah, Crab's gonna kind of be stuck in their base. The silver lining is it means they got a lot of extra gold and XP from that, especially when you have a Smolder on your team. Palm Goat's gonna be enjoying that because it's gonna be so many extra passive stacks. The problem is Baron's up in less than a minute here, and then in another 2 minutes time you also have to deal with Elder, and good luck getting out of your base to even deal with those here.
I think they might have enough time for Elder for the inhibitors to respawn, if it even makes it that far.
Yeah, if it even makes it that far. Drex
that's the big if.
Yeah, Drex is trying their best to get into the jungle here, clear out some camps, clear out some vision. But you can just see like there's a great wall of vision being set up. It might not even need Baron here on Con, since they do have triple inhib down. Like, you don't have to do too much here. Eddie Boy is already pretty damn low as this Renekton lands. Drex almost dead off of an ability and a half there. It looks like Con just trying to march this one on in.
Yeah, they clearly have the ability to. With how big these waves are, that's going to be another one taken down. And as these abilities get dropped onto the side of the Crab's Radiant, most of the CC will land, and that's all they need to go. And there's not really anything the Crab's Radiant can do at this point. Suffering a 12k gold deficit, what can you do without that available? I mean, Palm Goat does eventually get a kill onto Pierce Blade, but that will be all they can get as Con Esports take game 1.
Yep, game 1 in pretty convincing fashion after we get past the midpoint in this game here, Isaac, because early game, it was pretty even for the most part. Drex and Jim Cantor having pretty equal just impact on the map. They both participated in, their team's first few kills. They both got the first objective on opposite sides of the map here. Just come mid-game, the Con side just kind of rallied harder when it came to the macro and really took over that way.
Yeah, it was a bit like a boa constrictor who is finishing off its prey. Theirs just gets choked out of any sort of life. But with that in mind, any other takeaways we got before we go into the draft of game 2, Goferino?
I mean, just good play by Con there. And yeah, just keep up that, and they should be able to go pretty easy 2-0 here tonight.
Well, we'll have to wait and see for that game too if Khan can have a repeat massacre, or maybe if the Crabs Radiant, who will be getting a change of side here, or at least should, I'd imagine. Um, until then, don't go anywhere because when we come back, it will be the Game 2 draft here in Blue Water League Masters Week 3. Welcome back for Blue Water League's Masters Week 3 between Con Esports and the Crabs Radiant, as we do have a change inside as the Crabs Radiant now on blue for Game 2, and hopefully with this change of side go for, perhaps a change in identity of that last game, because it did not go so great for the Crabs Radiant in Game 1.
Yeah, they're able to keep it pretty even for a bit there. And we'll see, because usually that sort of like macro thing, it's not like something can ban out realistically, because that's kind of just more of like a difference in how teams operate and whatnot. So I want to see how Krebs Radiant adjust their playstyle going into this game. Because that's how you're going to combat this. It's not going to be like banning out a specific champion from the previous game, although taking away the two top 80 carries in the meta right now, not too unsurprising. And it's going to be the Ari versus Annie handshake here, it looks like. I'd expect Khan to lock in some other power picks here and save that Annie for the R3 though. Because you're already wanting to pick this Annie here and you know where that R is going. So why not just grab some other power picks here?
Yeah, I would also prefer that, but they also just might be memeing here. Is yeah, that's definitely something I would much rather see out of Con Esports here on round one. The Varus getting selected, and I would not be surprised if that. I mean, because it'd be that matchup that the Crabs Radiant opted into last time around with the Annie counter pick on R4, and well, we didn't quite see that power. That being said,
Really,
excuse
LeBlanc.
me. Yeah, they'll pick LeBlanc into Ari, and okay, I can appreciate the banter between the hovers in this draft. At the very least, go for Reno.
Yeah, it is a volatile matchup in the mid lane, if my knowledge serves me correctly here, because the Ari Charm can stop the LeBlanc distortion on in, but if you don't stop the distortion, the LeBlanc can just burst the ever-living hell out of you. So it is volatile in that sense, as both these champions. On the burstier side, the LeBlanc more so as that pure assassin compared to Ari, who's a bit like a kiting mage assassin. I forget her exact like thing that she is, but they feel is going to be locked in here. That is going to give Crab some very strong scaling in this bot lane, even though the Smolder is banned. I want to see something paired with this Aphelios that gives it a bit of protection, though. All right.
Or Nautilus, because Nautilus is just strong, and you don't want it getting picked over, seeing it going over to the side of Con Esports, especially with Varus being their selection. Also, Aphelios and Nautilus, not necessarily the most uncommon pairing, though definitely I wouldn't say most iconic one between them, but I think that's more so because Nautilus just goes with everything.
Yeah. Yeah, the Nautilus has kind of been ever present. Like, you can change the numbers as much as you want, but the fact that this champion still has like 4 forms of CC just makes them nutty as a support. Leona gonna be the response here from Con. That's what we saw last game for Pierce Blade. We'll see if they have better accuracy on the Zenith Blades in laning phase. I do want to call them out a little on that. Could have been a little better on the accuracy there. It wasn't an absolute 0% there, but hey, going to be very all-in from both these supports here. I'm going to be looking for the roams as well.
I will say it is a little bit awkward for Leona playing into Thresh we talked about last game, as especially post level 6 you can like bait out Thresh's Flay. And then continue to go in because especially in the early levels, Thresh can go Lamau no by just pressing E whenever you do. So there might be some sort of aspect as to why Pierce Blade may have had a little bit of trouble with those Zenith Blades in game 1. However, as the second round of bans get underway, it is going to be a very top-side focus for Con Esports with Renekton and Cassante going down, and immediately if you look towards the jungle here on the side of the Crabs Radiant, which actually is kind of fitting considering their team's name that they'd want to shorten.
Yeah. It's interesting Con's doing that. I guess they're taking away top laners that are much more blindable than others here, because they do have the R5 counter pick in top unless we see LeBlanc top laner. I guess Varus top lane, that's more of a solo duo / flex thing, but I think it showed up like once in pro play. Zach, that is a double flex between jungle and top. I think right now top is all the rage for Zach, but still very good in the jungle with that elastic slingshot. And it does fit in with Revenon, who was playing that Cho'Gath last game. So another tank in the top lane that they can take here.
Yeah, and the fact that you have double flex on R4, I think is absolutely huge, because if there's a pick that not necessarily that you can't find a favorable matchup into, but that that your top laner isn't necessarily so comfortable playing. You can always flex Zac around should that be necessary, and so it's really non-committal. And so that just leaves the Crabs Radiant mostly just blinding 2 picks here. Jungle, obviously, I would say not as big of a issue blind as for top lane, but I think that goes without saying that R5 is almost exclusively top lane counter pick.
Yeah. Sometimes mid. Sometimes mid.
Sometimes mid. That's
But yeah,
usually only when the top laners handshake onto fairly good blind picks when they pick
yeah.
like I don't know, they pick like Ornn and somebody else who's like a Scion Ornn maybe.
Yeah.
That being said, Aatrox not too bad of a blind pick considering that they don't really have anything to go off of on the side of the Crabs Radiant.
Does mean though, Crabs Radiant, they don't have a pure tank here outside of the Nautilus support here, which I mean is mostly fine. They just have to be wary if Khan goes for burst heavy this game. I'm guessing the Varus here for Adafoof is going to be on hit, considering you have the block in the mid lane. The Mordekaiser in the top lane is the Aatrox. That is interesting.
It was banned out last time against them.
So it means we're going to have a Zac jungle, very AP heavy mid and top side here. So Crabs Radiant can just spec into some early Merc trades here and enjoy some benefits of some nice damage reduction here. It's not the end all be all, but you will definitely feel that here in these fights, and you don't mind itemizing the Mercs. You're against the Leona, so we'll see if that heavy magic damage focus from Khan nips them in the butt here. I had concerns about their scaling last game, and they were able to end the game before that scaling issue really came online since they're able to snowball. So see if they prove me wrong again here.
Yeah, looking like they'll have to. That being said, if that first game is anything to go off of, obviously execution is a different part of that, but as this draft in its entirety is complete, obviously the also important Drake draft, go Farino this time around. You're serving it up in this draft, so.
All right, I'll first pick Clown Soul.
Okay, fair. Then I will take Hextech Chemtech.
Infernal Mountain.
Infernal Mountain.
So I lose the Ocean.
Yeah, that leaves me Ocean. So obviously the clearly most important thing about this game 2 will be up and available is clearly because our mini game casters the most important thing. But any final words for the actual game upcoming here before we send it to the spectator glory?
Yeah, definitely gonna be looking at Drex and Jim Cantor here in the early game again, especially since they are on J4 and Zac, 2 junglers that can do some pretty nasty early ganks here, because we saw them both make their impact on the map early last game, and ultimately Jim Cantor with the Wukong was able to come out ahead with their impact. So we'll see if it changes this game here, and yeah.
Well, until then, which we will get to see that play out in a few minutes, we do have a spectator delay, but when we come back, it will be game 2 between the Crabs Radiant and Khan Esports here in Blue Otter League's Masters Series. So don't go anywhere because we'll have that for you in just a few moments. we are back for game 2 between the Crabs Radiant and Con Esports. I'm Isaac, alongside me is Goferino. For this one, and Mr. Drex actually moving a little bit in, trying to claim some more space and some vision for the side of the Crabs Radiant early on here, Goferino.
Yep. So looks
We'll
like
be able
it's
to
gonna
get...
be a ward here on this Raptor.
You read my mind.
Yeah, I mean,
I
there's
mean,
indeed a ward on the
yeah.
Raptor.
Yeah, at this point, there's not much to really go over. There's not even a dance party between top laners, even.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you kind of chill here.
That being said, Puffles, they didn't quite notice, did kind of expect this and did go for that Oracle lens in that mid lane. Something I did not catch that at all, but it was available, was able to get that ward, and so should have that little bit extra XP here in the mid lane to hit that level 2 first. Maybe it could be a big point of contention in this mid lane matchup, Goferino. Actually, before I let you respond to that, Revnon's running into Eddie Boy, but I don't exactly know how close you want to be that early on Aatrox. What much more is going to come for this? Revnon probably can't proc his passive again fairly soon. There it is. Eddie Boy maybe got a little bit out of his depth, but here comes Mr. Drex with that level 2. That, kids, is why you look at the minimap and don't be like me, not looking at the minimap. And that is going to be first blood going over to the side of the Crabs Radiant.
Yeah, very cheeky there from Drex. I'm gonna assume that wasn't planned there, because yes, level 2 ganks is J4. Not unheard of, but Revnon just kind of going for the fight there against Eddie Boy continuously, and usually Mordekaiser wins those, but Eddie Boy able to keep it relatively even there with the Darkened Blades. Hold that thought, because Jim Cantor's in the mid lane here, gonna be looking to get flash out of Trinity here. And
does exactly that, but I'm not sure how much it'll matter as he's CC'd up again real soon. Mr. Drex is here, does find the kill though. Puffles going to be claiming that one, and so no flash is used on the side of Con Esports. And once again, Trinity before level 6 not going to have that flash available, and down a kill this time as well on top of that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little rough to deal with here. Although last game
it did kind of stall out a little bit last game.
Last game it was Puffles who didn't have the flash, because they were the Ahri. Actually,
you know what? You're absolutely right. You know what? It was the blue side Ahri that didn't have the flash. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. But we got another fight straight away. Mr. Drex going low. Ignite going to be used onto the enemy jungler. That being said, you can't walk up that much farther. Mr. Drex going to get low. Jim Cantori still going to have his passive available though. So despite these low health bars, should probably be largely okay. Paler's Blade going to pick up a nice bit of damage though. Palm Goat going to cleanse. Revive's not going to be enough, and with these low health bars, not Con Esports, the Crabs Radiant going to pick up 2 more kills there. Not for anything in return, so very well played from the Crabs Radiant to start off this game too.
Yeah, and Con's bot side there with Jim Cantor just getting a little hard debated there on that one. Oh, fade away? No fade away on that one. But the health bars were so low. Flash under turret. It's an easy pickup here.
That being said, Alchemist is in a bit of a weird spot, and so is Mr. Drexus. He's the first to go down. Alchemist now, without much else to go, might be able to dredge line himself away if he does get the angle. But where do you go from there after that? Alchemist going low, still not taking any turret aggro, but I mean, I feel like you just have to attempt to run away at that point with where he was on the map. I mean, I know he probably wouldn't have gotten away either way, so realistically, probably not making a difference, but still, I mean, I just feel like you just got to run there.
Yeah, in the end, a 3 for 2 in the bot lane. Plate also going over here to Crab. So 2-0-1 on this Aphelios with an extra plate that was shared between 3 people to boot. Definitely accelerating here as this champion who can hard scale. With the clap back though coming from Khan after they respawn, walking immediately back to that bot lane to punish the follow-up dive there. Going to be looking to also grab this dragon here. Unless Drex has anything to say about it. We see the collapse from the mid laners as well here. Oh no, it's just Trinity collapsing. So I think Grab just gets this.
You'd have to imagine so. They've
Oh,
walked up to it. That being said, Elastic Slingshot available, and now it's going to be closely contested. Going to be the Drake getting claimed by the Crabs Radiant. That being said, Jim Cantori going to pick up yet another kill. Going to have 6 stacks on that Dark Seal. So early on now, probably going to hit fairly decently hard on this Zac. And so even though it was a very early advantage to Con Esports, and even though they do have the Drake and a slight gold advantage, quickly starting to turn back around.
Thing is, though, giving up that dragon and giving your jungler for that. Oh, got a gank in the mid lane here. Good charm by Trinity. Still gonna have to use the Spirit Rush to get on out. And they have Drex here on the back end.
Oh, Jim
And
Cantore though.
yeah, only
Going
level
good.
4 because of all the ganks here. Even though you're 3 and 1, that's the thing with jungle. XP is very low. Zenplay lands.
And here's the turnaround, maybe. You did say it does land. Palm Goat maybe not having the most ideal exchange of guns available. Perhaps you'd like to see a bit more further forward movement from a Doofoof, especially with that lane being there, being able to block out any potential dredge line that would have been coming from Alchemist. So maybe a bit of a miscommunication, maybe not expecting the sudden re-engage from Pierce Blade, but neither team will really pay for it.
And the Crabs, they find themselves to a small gold lead here. Also got that dragon. We'll see if they transition that into the Grubbies here. Jim Cantor is still on bot side, is recalling right now. They do start it. There's no worry of the jungler Puffles. Does land the chain here. Takes a charm for their troubles.
Yeah, but Revnon will pop the ghost, won't quite find the pullback. Not going to be able to send Trinity to Brazil, and then probably the gray screen, and should be okay here.
Yep. Nice little pressure in the mid lane here. See if that gives Grubbies over to the side of Khan.
I mean, I'd imagine it would have to, considering Trinity's health bar.
Yep.
Oh, that being said, going to force out the flash from Puffles, though. Huge considering the scenario, but without knowing that Jim Cantore, here's World Ender will go, but with Pierce Blade now coming through and the Zenith Blade.
All the Grubby KO.
Nowhere to go. Eddie boy. Going to try to find a way out of this one, but there just isn't one, as a 4th kill going over to the jungler of Con, of Con Esports, Jim Cantore, and probably all those grubs as well. Going to be a very, very, feels good moment if you're the side of Con Esports.
Yeah. Unless you're a doofoof, in which case you're doing the classic, hey, I'm in a mobile ADC under turret against 2 people. Make that 3 people here because we got Drex coming up the side here. Gonna be spotted out thanks to that ward at least, but giving over more free farm to Palm Goat. Definitely gonna be big. Pierce Blade gonna find this J4 in the brush. Here comes Alchemist. Dredge line.
Oh, will have the depth charge range to find the Doofoof. Will go full on in onto the enemy ADC, and Palm Goat will pick up another kill. Going 3-0 on the Aphelios. Teleport's coming through. Is it enough time? Maybe not. Health bar starting to get a little bit low onto Mr. Drex, but he's not going to go down. And right now, Alchemist will be the only one to go. Palm Goat just on the wrong side of the map. Won't find a way out, and a shutdown to make that a 5th kill for the jungler of Con Esports. Going to fully stack that Dark Seal as well as a result. So this Zac really doing a surprising amount of damage here. But so some consolation if you're Con Esports to keep this one fairly close. That being said, I about to head it back to you, but we should be okay as abilities fly wide for the most part.
Yeah, got about 40 seconds until the Clown Dragon spawns here. Okay, Jim Cantor saw that. Fails the elastic slingshot from about in the middle of the lane to their Raptors, so gonna have to take a little bit of extra time here. Want a goof caught on Cam either way though. Puffles looking here, misses the chain. Zenith Blade lands. This is gonna force a flash, and Trinity is going to be fine.
Yeah, the chains not being available means that even though the Zenith Blade lands, there's not really much that can be used to follow up on it. So it's just feeling mostly alright if you're Trinity there. Not too worried. That being said, without a
No
flash or
mana though.
ultimate available or any mana, this is a bit of a troubling spot, not realizing that they just can't walk back up again without their tools necessary to stay alive on Ari, and going to feel the full extent of a 10 stack Zac on that Dark Seal. Going to pick up yet another kill. And once again, Con Esports starting to... Oh no, it'll land because Nautilus things really is the only way to describe how that lands there, and Adufuf just can't go anywhere. So even though the rest of his team's feeling fairly alright, not being able to do anything there, and as the second kill goes over to the side of the Crabs Radiant, they're going to, well, being able to pick up the Drake, and as their name says, probably this Crab as well, even though, you know.
Yeah, Doofus just literally unable to play the game there. You know, gets hit by one dredge line at basically near max cast range.
Like honestly, because of how dredge line works, I would accept beyond max cast range, really.
Yeah. So first 2 dragons going over to Crabs. They're gonna be happy about that. Give them a nice lead going into this. Slingshot charged. Flag and Dragon bot lane. Chains of Corruption comes out.
Yeah, got a fight breaking out. Palm Goat going to go low. Palm Goat going to probably eventually go down, and yet another shutdown. Going over to Jim Cantore. Finding every last bit of damage he needs, even though that Dark Seal is fully stacked. Going to claim all of those items under his belt. So, that being said, wait, we're not done yet. Alchemist going low. Alchemist not quite going down, though. We'll be okay there. But, if it is any consolation, if you are the size of the Crabs Radiant, that's going to be all 5... Excuse me. All 5 plates going down on that bot side along with the first tower. So, even though they are down on kills here, the 2 Drakes and all those extra plates mean that they are actually sitting at a gold advantage currently, Gofrino.
Which is really nice to have here. We have the Aphelios who can take over the game. Of course, you're going to have to protect the Aphelios. Palm Goat has 5 kills under their belt. Does also have 2 deaths, though, because they have a huge target on their back. Not like anyone on the enemy team's really threatening to do much damage here. I mean, Trinity, 0-2 on the Ari, just sitting on that last chapter. Okay, there's a Sunder Divine here for Drex's J4 in the jungle. That's a pretty decent spike, but realistically speaking, the thing that's going to blow you up in fights is going to be this Aphelios. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think it has really shown in these fights that it's whenever Aphelios can get spotted out and just deleted immediately, that there's not much that the rest of the Crabs Radiant can do in the fights that we've seen that found there anyway. And so will be a fairly obvious target, one that if they can't get claimed under their belts will make it difficult for the Crabs Radiant.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to continue that momentum here.
Yeah, and one of my main concern right now with Palm Goat, even though he is sitting very nicely at 5-2-2 on that Aphelios, that being said, hold that thought. Adufuf just can't play the game currently. Eddie Boy maybe going to be slightly out of position. World Ender popped, is running away, but here comes the rest of Con Esports. That does free up space for this Rift Herald to be taken at the cost of a flash. That'll be the cost for taking this Rift Herald, but otherwise going to be completely uncontested. And with how low a few of these turret health bars are, you could probably see a nice few charges there, either up to this top lane and knock that one down, or even into the other parts of the map and start to really push this push Con Esports back towards their own base if they can find it.
Yeah, top side, it is going to be that Herald, like you mentioned here. And also, they got solo mid outer turret here onto Palm Goat. So this Aphelios still scaling up. Get top turret here without the help of the Herald. So Khan coming out on the negative in this trade. It's going to be the Herald as well. It's going to be charged here because it's still only Revnon. You see some other Khan members coming on in. Hook does land. Look for the Death Realm here.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it was used onto the Nautilus of all people. It was a bit
still alive.
Yeah, yeah. When he's still alive too, his health bar is now so low. He's basically out of the fight.
Blink shot into the back line here.
Will it be enough though? Will it be enough to find Palm Goat from downtown and Doofu picking up that one, but now traded back immediately in a 1-for-1. These health bars have gone low. Currently, slight numbers advantage towards the side of the Crabs. Radiant, a Doofu picking up another one, though. So still life for the Con Esports, and now actually gold into the hands of a Doofu might actually make him a threat in subsequent fights. So even though there is still that, I'd say at this point, minor goal advantage, still significant though at 2K at 16.5 minutes.
Well,
it's definitely not anything to scoff at, but clearly on Esports finding the fights that they need. And just as I'm about to hit it back to you, Teleport's dropping down, so we have a fight here towards the bottom side. Eddie Boy going low, going down, shut down onto Puffles, and now Alchemist has nowhere to go. Another kill going over to the side of Con Esports as they claim that second one. And I was talking about a gold deficit for them. What gold deficit they say? It's now actually only around 800 gold. And now with the numbers advantage and these full health bars, there's not really anything that the Crabs Rady can do except for walk away from this one.
Yep. Also, quick shout outs to Nameless Orc for the raid. Howdy ho. This is game number 2 of week 3 of the Blue Waters Master League. And it's just going to be the Dragon going over to Con Esports. So one of the big things Crab had going for themselves, that Dragon stack, going to lose a lot of its momentum here now that you're just stuck on 2. As you won't have that soul point threatening. You won't be able to threaten the soul point here. And yeah.
There it goes. Yeah, and also if we're talking about individual Drakes, and also by the way, Drake counts 1-1 in that draft, but we might have more important things at hand. Brazil's still available and is going to send Eddie Boy there, but I think he's not trapped in there with him. He's trapped in there with Eddie Boy, and well, Cataclysm going to get used. I don't know exactly how necessary that was, but either way will ensure that Revnon will not get away, and that it will be a kill going back over to the side of the Crabs Radiant, and hopefully Ghost Reno doesn't die in the background of this cast. Are you okay there, Gopher?
Oh lord. Yeah, I just swallowed some saliva and it went down the wrong windpipe. Oh lord.
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah. But Drex haven't used the Cataclysm there because they're taken into the Death Realm there. And this J4 definitely does not have the damage to finish off the Mordekaiser in there. So better safe than sorry.
I must have missed all that because I could have sworn I saw it was Eddie Boy in the Death Realm initially in that fight, but I could be wrong with that statement.
I could be wrong too. I was coughing for like half that thing. So
you know what? That's fair. Either way, whichever one it was, it's one of those things that casting the Death Realm is that on some skins it's almost impossible to tell from a neutral perspective whether or not they're in the Death Realm, and this is one of them.
Thank you, Riot Games.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the clarity when you're in game is like.
It usually doesn't matter in game because the champions just disappear and they're no longer on the map. But we don't have that luxury as neutral, omniscient viewers.
No, fight over the crab here.
The all decisive objective here. That being said, Eddie Boy won't get hit by much. And it is just a bunch of team members just hovering around certain things. Honestly, I think the most significant thing about that fight was the new Baron animation going in under the river, if anything.
Yeah, my conspiracy theory is Riot just added that animation so observers have something to do at the 20-minute mark every game.
Yeah,
Because
especially like the like higher level professional
you gotta
games
be
where they
careful
can
here,
focus
buddy.
on it. But yeah, as you're saying, Trinity in a bit of an awkward spot will land the stun onto Revenant, and without that pullback, will be able to get away with the Spirit Rush. And considering how low that health that cooldown should be at this point, probably not going to feel too bad about that.
Yeah. Will be a little bit longer though, funnily enough, just due to the fact that because of the reset period, it takes a little bit of extra time before it goes on to cooldown, but it is a 1-minute cooldown here. So that will be back in Liquidity Split's time. We'll be back up for the next dragon here. It won't be up for Baron if that started like right now, but that's not getting started right now. So
That would be very ill advised.
yeah. So that's one of the reasons why the Ari's pretty good right now. Well, usually when Ari's pretty good, like a huge factor is the fact like it's just so hard to punish her. If you can't just
Yeah.
CC chain her, she pops the Spirit Rush, does 3 dashes on out. It's a relatively short cooldown.
And yeah, there it is, back up before anything happens. So it's like it was never even used. That being said, the full book is going to be bought by Jim Cantore, though. Bit audacious, you know. He has been sitting on those 10 stacks on the Dark Seal for a while now, even getting a few more kills and assists under his belt before upgrading that. But yeah, Magi Soul Stealer going to be the choice, and actually
Ooh,
the
Puffles.
hunting guy. Oh yeah, hold on. Yeah, Puffle's going to be mostly okay. Not a lot of bursts immediately available for the side of the Crabs Radiant. That being said, won't be able to continue the fight there. But actually, if you look at this itemization from Jim Cantore, also going to pick up that haunting guys as well. So perhaps opting into a bit more damage now, which is I mean, that can definitely do a sneaky amount of damage, but I don't know. When you have two fairly heavy AP sources on your team, I'm not sure how another only semi amount of magic damage would really affect it, as opposed to just being more tanky. But we'll have to wait and see.
Looking here, Spirit Rush is available, and there is also hold that thought.
Oh, hold on! Fight going to come through. Jim Cantore only find one knockup on.
And he's trying to get some resets here in the back line.
Going to try some Pierce Blade going low, but Pierce Blade not going down. Now Adufu gets the kill onto the enemy Aphelios.
He's getting zoned out here.
And yeah, it's just going to be zoning galore. Eddie Boy not really going to find anything. Adufu picking up a second. That being said, Trinity Blade going to pick a second, going to pick up a third onto Revenant. And it's not quite over yet. Trinity still going forward, but there's a lot of damage available. That's going to be LeBlanc going to picking up that kill there. That shutdown. Eddie Boy going to pop the clone, pop the Doofoof going low. Doofoof one auto attack, but not going to be the auto attack that they need. And now as Mr. Drexus is very low, doesn't really have a way over here. This fight not going to be able to steal anything away at Doofoof, and without any sort of vision. Puffles, though, isn't going to give up on this just yet. Uh-oh, wait, hold on. Doofoof.
Oh, Doofoof
will find the slow from the Bork. Mr.
Drex
Drex
here if
two
Drex
things
dies.
underneath it. And actually, as you're saying, Drex does go down. An extended fight. Alchemist now probably just going to have to turn tail and run as Palm Goat's back up, but not in the most favorable set of two guns here. Pierce Blade now going to find that first initial stun onto Alchemist to stop any sort of fight coming through, but with no jungler on the side of the Crabs Radiant and a Baron up, perhaps maybe, though, by the way, Jim Cantore is moving away. I suspect not.
Yeah, might not have the time to do it right now, just with how everybody was bought, and Adufoof and Puffles had to back there on account of having low health bars, so a little overeager by me calling the Baron, but was a bit of a reality there. And yeah, pretty even fight there. Both these teams neck and neck right now. However, the fact that Soul Point going over to Crab is very huge right now, because any other dragon they get this game will give them that Hextech Soul.
Yeah, it's always something that can lure a bit of pressure, especially with this Baron up. You can force a trade there, a rather unfavorable trade, if you really want to. I'm not sure how advisable that would be in a 5v5, but it's always an option, and at the very least a threat. That being said, Pierce Blade feeling fairly comfortable with just walking up as far as he pleases, and yeah, you know, sometimes you get two champions that stand really close together and you just get baited by them standing too close together because they both know that if either one starts a fight, that they lose because the rest of the team comes.
Yeah. Doofu only at 2.5 items right now. So not going to be pumping out the most insane amount of damage, but going to be pretty damn respectable here since you have the board plus Ginsu's. Tried and true combo.
Well, yeah, but especially considering the position that a Dufuf was in for the first like 13 minutes of this game, where they just couldn't even play the game. Like it wasn't even an option. It's like, oh, you wanted to play League of Legends today? Well, I hope you mind not doing that. And considering that in these fights, a Dufuf has been managed to pick out these executes, getting up all that gold, and starting to honestly come back fairly level with Palm Goat here. Still going to be feeling, it's just really shows resilience from the ADC of Con Esports as a bunch of abilities are used onto champions who really aren't willing to fight each other, and for good reason.
Mm-hmm. He's being looked at here. I don't. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be taken here.
Yeah, it's not, especially before the Hextech Drake does come up. Because if you do lose a fight there's any sort of positioning, you give up that and then you give up soul. So yeah, not the most fun decision for us as casters, but definitely the better one of the two, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no one wants to give up Baron or the next dragon here. Well, Crab wouldn't mind giving up dragon here. Not the end of the world to give over a second dragon this lane of the game. But they would feel bad about it because, you know, they want the soul here. He's looking for something. And I think it's just going to be a lot of the vision game here until dragon comes up here, Isaac, unless we see a big pick come out. Both these teams just look happy to farm it on out.
Yeah, honestly, understandable. And you don't want to be the one that gives away any massive objective by simply being a little bit too greedy. So we sit here, and my eyes start to fail me as they get a bit heavy. It's one of those things. It's the smart decision to not do anything, but when you're sitting here trying to find something, it's like that meme of like the guy poking like the bug and saying, "Do something."
Yeah. Slingshot going on in.
Doing something. Elastic Slingshot is committed.
The numbers, though.
Puffles is here, but it's a numbers disadvantage at least for now. Dredgeline will find the CC onto the enemy mid laner, and they will find enough damage onto Puffles. And now here comes the rest of it. Palm Goat feeling fairly untouched.
In the back line.
Said, Palm Goat doesn't have enough damage before he gets zoned out and zoned down. A Dufuf dealing a bunch of damage before he finally gets.
Can they deal with Eddie though?
That being said, without that ADC available, Revnon going to be the only one left alive. Trinity out of range. Revnon just trying to find any way in possible. Going to proc that passive, but it's not enough, and it's actually going to be an ace over to the side of the Crab's Radiant. And that is going to be, alongside that ace, the Drake Dragon Soul.
Yeah, that's a bit of a XD engage coming up from Con Esports there, because they only have 3 members and they're starting off the fight like that. 3 versus 4 or 5.
They definitely knew that it was a 3v4 when that elastic slingshot was pulled.
Yeah, because basically Puffles just eats the death charge there into Dredgeline and dies without being able to do all of much that fight. So even when the cavalry comes, it's like 4 versus 5.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, definitely a bit of an odd decision, a bit of a blunder from the side of Con Esports, who haven't made too many mistakes so far. They haven't been flawless by any means, especially you can tell by that gold advantage, but a blunder that big from what we've seen so far from them is a little bit uncharacteristic.
Pierce
Instead,
Play
Pierce
kind of cut
Play,
out here.
yeah, slightly. Jim Cantore's here, but I mean, there's nobody else, so we'll just choose to not continue on with that. Free kill over to the side of the Crabs Radiant. And now, Baron available. And a few key members, well, maybe not a few key members on, but Pierce Blade at the very least. That
Eddie
being
has
said,
the
this fight
flank
isn't
here.
just done. This would be a bit more of a key member. A Dufu going down, and now the reset is available for Eddie Boy. You said call an ambulance, but not for me. Eddie Boy now going to probably heal back up. Trinity is in the death realm. I was wondering for a second why anything wasn't happening, but it's one of those things where that skin is impossible to tell who's in the death realm or not when you're as a spectator. And but either way, important things now coming up. The Baron going to be probably could maybe attempted to be contested by Jim Cantore. That being said, he will know that he is spotted out by the Vision, and we'll just, I mean, maybe find a way in here. And you know, with the elastic slingshot, he does have a fairly easy way in. And that being said, Alchemist will cancel that elastic slingshot, and actually, as his health bar goes very low from miles away, Jim Cantore soon going low, now going down. Going to find that kill. Puffles will try to find the burst onto the enemy ADC, but now that no abilities are left available for the mid laner of Con Esports, it's going to be Pierce Blade now going down and nowhere to go for Puffles
Oh my.
as Dredgeline stuff.
Yeah, so it kind of all starts with Pierce Blade getting caught way back then, and then Autofoof and Revenant getting caught in the mid lane. And yeah, Khan just kind of doing a bit of Papega this game here. Getting caught like
Yeah,
their
it's one of
baseballs.
those things that when you like lose your support, especially when it's Lyrian, you just kind of have to eat that loss and wait a little bit. They were just too impatient and will clearly pay the price for it as they they'll lose the Baron on the map and now their inhibitor. And with this top lane looking as big as it is now, heading in, looking to break the base up here as well.
Revenant.
It just might be over.
Guys.
Revenant going low. Now the Duke was marked out by that Dredgeline. You have to feel that this should be it for Con Esports here in game 2. Double kill going on to Trinity. And that was all she wrote. There's not really anything you can do with just Jim Cantore and Puffles only left on the map. Jim Cantore going low, getting some healing, but it won't matter. All these minions, all these Baron empowered minions, Puffles has no chance of stopping the end of this game 2 as we bring this series level 1-1.
Yep. And yeah, Crab's just doing a good job of calling out the mistakes of Khan's late game shot calling in that game there, I feel here, Isaac, because just a couple of odd fights there around that last dragon and a couple of members getting caught around that last Baron, and next thing you know, objective bounties, the soul, the Baron, and then your base is gone.
Yeah, and after what was honestly a fairly swift end to that match, that will be it for game 2. But upcoming, we will have the draft of game 3. So, any final thoughts, Go Farina, before we go to break?
Yeah. Yeah, not
also,
a lot.
I'll also note it's okay if you don't have any. We can just send it to break.
Yeah.
So on that note, don't go anywhere. We'll be back very momentarily for the draft of game 3 here in Blue Water League's Masters Series, week 3. And we are back for Blue Water League's Master Series, Week 3 between Con Esports and the Crabs Radiant. And a return to blue side for Con Esports this time around, Go Farino.
Yep, it's the side that has had a 100% win rate this series. So far, nothing changing up in the bans here in this game, number 3. All phases we have seen before. See if there's any changes here. So, yeah.
Yep. Maybe we might see an Ari ban, considering how influential it can be, and we've seen it kind of going away. Smolder, though, not going to be won by Con Esports, which is a bit odd considering their blue side having that available. That being said, Crabs Radiant don't want to see that Ari, and understandably so, because neither side were able to really find a good counter into it. But that does mean Nautilus is up and available and will be the first pick for the side of Con Esports.
Let's see what Crabs respond with here. Paris is up on the board. Pretty good in the ADC role. Just going off my head from previous games, the Nocturne is available here. Was banned in both our previous games.
Zaya.
Whittier is also available. We haven't seen Volibear all night, interestingly enough. Zaya, that's also been doing solid right now. Not overpowered, but putting in the work. We'll see if Rakan's locked in here by Crabs Radiant. Rakan has a little bit of trouble into the Nautilus, but yeah.
It is that fairly common pick. I mean, understandably so. I mean, they literally are made to be played together. And blindly, that being said, Wukong going to be the selection for Crabs Radiant.
Locking that on in here, denying that from Jim Cantor. Since you don't have to lock in the support now, you can't wait until R3. Just due to the fact Nautilus was the first pick here. Because Nautilus is picked, maybe we see the Kaisa come out. And I know that has been picking up some Steam and Pro Play recently with a couple of different builds here. Speak of the devil.
Yeah, Kaisa's I haven't seen this one before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're pretty common AD carries when it comes to pro play. We'll see what Khan also wants to lock in here. I'm expecting a jungler. Could also lock in a mid laner for themselves here if there's something they want to get priority on. The Ahri being banned and the fact that Azir is still disabled, I believe, due to the shuffling bug. Gonna be locking in themselves the Shins out here so it doesn't get pincered off in the second round of bans.
Yeah, I've not heard any updates on the Azir situation, and considering every league that I've like roughly followed that has said until further notice Azir is banned, and we haven't received any further notice, I'd have to imagine that that is the case.
Yeah. I'm pretty damn I'm sick of seeing Azir in pro play. I swear to God, every single year that champion is just pick and ban for at least 80% of the year. I'm going to be locked in with the Zaya though, even though the Rakan is available here. Just going to be offering some nice protection into any stray dredge lines that do come out. Not to mention the Winter's Bite passive can be handy against Kaisa diving in on you, because you're just very easily able to stack up that stun here.
Yeah, right now there's a lot of champions that Braum feels really good into. They want to run into you, and then Braum says get stunned. So fairly simple, at least we'll say. Not necessarily easy, but definitely simple time here for Braum, given the current situation. That being said, currently we have a target towards that mid lane. From these bans, Nico and LeBlanc are going to be the two first choices here, and bans away. And I would have to imagine that it would probably continue, since really, I don't think you could ban out too many top laners in this amount of time. That makes it really worthwhile for saving just one ban for. And as a colleague's taken away, I have to imagine that that assumption is correct, unless we get like a wild Santi ban or something.
We'll see. I'm expecting Crabs Radiant to R4 their mid laner here, just due to the fact that top lane is the most counterpick heavy lane, and the top lane pool hasn't been pinched all that much here. Realistically, it's only the Akali and Udyr so far. that can target that top lane here. The Orion also rounding off all the meta mid laner bans here. I'm curious what else is going to come through here in that mid lane, since this is now extremely pinched.
Let's wait and see. Who's available? Who would be? I'm trying to think. I mean, like, obviously Azir is a no-go. So, like, I don't know. Karma?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's acceptable. Maybe not the most fun, but definitely acceptable.
Yeah, actually, I haven't really seen Karma all series long tonight. Kind of forgot the Malignant, that champion is kind of really dumb in the mid lane. Syndra being hovered here, will be able to match the range? Will he be able to just match the pure spam and wave clear, though, is the question.
We'll have to see. I'd imagine it would probably around level 5 it would change to be Syndra favored. I'd have to imagine, but just based on like my very minimal knowledge of how this matchup goes, I think like the first few levels should, at least in terms of push, should be slightly Karma favored. Then turn around on its head. That being said, Urgot's going to be the current hover? No way. No, yes way. Yes way. Okay, blind Urgot for Con Esports. That's unexpected.
Yeah, I remember Revenant actually plays this. I think they played 2 games of it in the regular season of Risen. It's gonna be blind though, so it can be countered. Granted, I know Urgot's hardest counters are typically things you don't pick top lane in pro play, like Vayne top was a hard counter, TF top was a hard counter when AD/TF was just way too overtuned.
I think it's a throwback to season 8 Go Furino.
Yeah, more or less here. And the Aatrox that worked out so well here for Crab's Radiant last game, gonna be locked in again here. So Crab's Radiant definitely bringing a lot of physical damage here. Low on the magic damage, but a lot of utility thanks to that Karma, and we'll see if that keeps the backline healthy enough here to deal with any potential dive coming out from Con Esports.
Yeah, honestly, this game with all that potential dive available, I'd have to expect team fights mostly just go Karma waiting on Mantra shield and then shielding the whole team and then feeling fairly okay with it. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck for things here, so it might be an extended spectator delay, unless if you can enlighten us in some completely different way that I can't quite think of at the present moment. Go Furino.
Think of in the what?
I don't know. Actually, you know what we haven't done? The most important part, the decisive dragon draft, to actually give something, the clearly important part of this series. That clearly is the only reason why we're doing it here, that everyone else is here for.
Yeah. I think it's your turn to draft first. You draft
it
first.
You know it is. You know, we need ahead of time. There needs to be a more effective way to decide a third one. That being said, I will go first, and I'll switch it up. I will say Ocean.
Okay. Clown and Infernal.
And then I will say Mountain and Hextech.
All right, then that leaves Chemtech for me.
Yeah, so with clearly the most important part of the series done, that will be upcoming after the spectator delay, we will have the decisive game here in Blue Water Masters Week 3 between Con Esports and the Crabs Radiant. Until then, don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few moments. welcome back everyone for the decisive game between COD Esports and the Crabs Radiant. And kind of maybe a little bit of shenanigans in the mid lane. Actually, flash forward from Pierceblade trying to find the edge line on Trinity, and will have an exchange of flashes. And considering that Nautilus will have the Hex Flash available, going to be a very massive win here at level 1 for the side of the Crabs Radiant. Actually, we're not quite done. That the second dredge line won't land from Pierceblade, but
Yeah.
okay, we should be okay here.
Yep. Those will result in some counter vision being placed here, so both teams gonna have some vision of the Raptors here, level 1. I'm going to Alchemist, just big chilling in this brush here. We want everybody to come on down. Jungler's starting top side, question mark? Okay, no. Jim Cantor will be starting bot side, so we'll have a mirrored start.
Yeah, so these two junglers should be popping up on the opposite sides of the map as they come along. Bit odd. Zinchao will start those chickens though, so we'll know the exact location of Jim Cantore here on Con Esports. So slight information advantage at the very least, going over in favor of the Crabs Radiant, but I don't know if that's really much to account for a missing flash there. Oh wait, hold on.
Yeah.
This blade going to get tagged, but not much else.
Yeah, bot lane, even though it's feisty, not a lot of kill threat right now until level 2. One of these sides hits it first. Just playing an Adufu. It's going to be zoning off this wave since they should be the first one to hit level 2. Yep, there it is. And they do have their jungler on their side of the map. Get an eye out where Jim Cantor decides to go, because that ward should have spotted the Shinzao walking down bot towards red buff.
Yeah, it absolutely should have, and so the slight knowledge advantage should be going over to the side. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Hold on, brain fart. Fights, though seemingly inconsequential all over the map, Trinity just going to be able to speed himself out of there with his own shield. And, yeah, we're just,
When it becomes lightning, does it land?
kind
Pupples
of
have to
mostly
flash on it.
okay. Yeah, Pupples will have to flash early, though, as they got a bit too audacious here early on, and as things land, Jim Cantori going to be able to find the kill onto Trinity, not having that flash available to them, clearly to their own detriment, as first blood goes over to the side of Con Esports.
Yep. Able to get first blood off a midland gank. Once again here.
Yeah.
Second time tonight. Oh, alright, cool.
That was very swift, but I would have to imagine we might have one of those little mini pauses, considering Eddie Boy did reconnect. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like one of those when you're sitting in game, like a 1 minute pause, if that, waiting for the person to get back in game. But because we are 2.5 minutes behind, it sometimes doesn't affect us immediately. So if we do get any stops in the feed, that is exactly what has happened, and it's nothing to worry about.
Yep, and mid lane once again seems to be the place to be. Drex and Jim Cantor having around the area. Jim Cantor backing though. Has their 5 camp clear, has their first kill. Gonna be buying hopefully a Tiamat here. That is a very nice first package out. There it is. Yeah, this gives you that extra clearing speed. Lets you do grubs very easily. It's just a Tiamat in general thing. Does mean though Drex gonna be able to steal some chickens away.
Yeah, that extra time is available, so that little extra gold going to feel, you know, somewhat okay. Maybe not the most incredible advantage, but any sort of thing you can grab is, well, it's one of those where you say, we take those.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, as the chat messages now get updated, I can confirm that there's a slight lag issue for Eddie Boy. And did disconnect and reconnect, so Hopefully that has solved the issue. We will wait and see, but until then, we got more of this looking at each other sort of deal going on.
Yeah, Jim Cantor knows they showed up on that ward that died right by him as they're backing here, so just dashes into the wave to help Adufoof and Pierceblade get off a back here. Now as for the time of truth, which Kaisa build it's going to be. We see the Tear of the Goddess. It could be the LS build where it's the Manamune into... Okay, yeah, I think it's the LS build where it's Manamune into the Lunan's Gun.
Yeah.
I think is the build. And then after that you get the Crypto Bloom.
Yep, that's the build I've been seeing. I honestly haven't really kept up too closely with LS recently, but considering I've seen it rising in popularity amongst all the games that I've casted, I would be surprised if it wasn't, considering that's not something I had seen up until very recently.
Once again, we're gonna get a cross-map trade here.
I wish these teams were a little bit more considerate of me not realizing my limits and that I had a long day in class, and now I'm casting a game, and now we have a fairly slow first 10 minutes. It's like, guys, please, do something. Spare me.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. Especially if you're on East Coast, since the game started at 8, so it drags on. At least with best of 3, it can't go, like, too horribly far. Because even if all the games are like back-to-back, like super long back and forth games, it's like a little past 12. Best of 5s though, that's when things get really dicey.
Yeah, I've had that experience. Luckily enough, I'm West Coast, so like the actual time of it isn't too bad. That being said, Mr. Drex is going to have to flash away to keep himself alive. So not that available, not going to be able, that cooldown not going to be available, especially as these ultimates
here
are starting to come up. That being said, do a fight! Eddie Boy will find a few knockups, but is it enough? Fear Beyond Death will land, will fear one more, and Trinity now going to get thrown over the shoulder like old Volibear, or I guess singed more like if we want to go on. As it was, and that's going to be a double kill going to Revdon. That being said, in the 2v2 in the spot lane, that's going to be 1 kill going over to the side. Now 2 going over to the side of the bot lane of the Crabs Radiance. So a bit of an unsuspecting trade, but overall, it did manage to come through.
Yeah, so 1 for 2 across the map here. Actually, 2 for 2. And yeah, I wish I could see the replay of what happened bot lane there for Palmgoat and Alchemist there, because they just kind of clapped Adufoof and Pierceblade. I don't know if it was like a level 6 diff there or the health bars were kind of low. Either way, though, Palmgoat once again accelerated in this game number 3 to an 0. First person on the board to actually complete a legendary item this game by just a bit. Puffles did complete the Lunan's Gun here, so Palmgoat able to pat themselves in the back for that. But him with the Kraken Slayer in this lane gonna help them a lot when it comes to the scuffles and to the pushing in this lane. Adufoof only sitting on the call fields and a long sword for combat power here.
Yeah, and even though it is a 2 for 2, the fact that it is a well, I guess double kill, not quite solo kill, but going to be all the gold going into the hands of Palmgoat, now going to have that Kraken Kraken Sailor, hold on, what am I talking about? Kraken Slayer available, and now is Pierceblade going to get tapped.
One more.
And yeah, one more. Ultimate going to go down. Whoa. Oh, it timed out just in time though. Oh no, the concussive blow is not quite going to
Eddie
find
Boy.
the stun. Eddie Boy going to have to pop the world in there just to keep himself alive. And
look at this collapse in bot lane.
Trade of flashes. That being said, Mr. Drex.
Depth charge is available. So is the killer instinct.
That being said, meanwhile, Trinity, hold on. Going to have to flash your way over there. Pierceblade going to commit the dredge line but that's going to use the aftershock and now going to be fairly squishy and going to just walk away from this without any sort of concern. Decide going over to the favor of the Crab's Radiance. So a
Ooh.
fairly even game so far, but here comes the rest of the Goon Squad. We're not quite done yet, and the Feather Storm will just ensure that Palm Goat gets out.
A little close for comfort there for Palm Goat, but they're able to get out. So it's a 1-for-0 in favor of the Crabs here. Trinity barely able to survive the two members hopping on their ass. The enemy red side jungle. 3-3. Got Dragon coming up in a little under 40 seconds here, so both teams going to be a little bit antsy for this. We already see Jimothy Cantor and Pierce Blade on vision clearing duty.
Oh, there's that little hiccup of pause. It took a while, but yeah,
This is a different pause, I think.
I mean, surely it has to be, probably, because it's been a long time since that first one.
Yeah,
but,
and this was another pause because I see other R's in the chat.
Oh
so.
yeah, in the chat. Here we go. It looks like we're getting a few disconnects, but overall we're fine. Grubs going to be uncontested actually. So 6 Grubs going over to the side of Con Esports. Yeah. As now there's that little hiccup we kind of expected.
Yeah, but Dragon's available.
Yeah, I mean, trade of neutral objectives, not all too surprising. The only reason why I say it is kind of a bit more impactful for Con Esports getting all 6 Grubs is that this mid lane, now that we're past level 6, is going to be almost always pushing towards the side of the Crab's Radiant, I'd have to imagine. And getting those extra plates, getting that extra push can feel quite nice. That being said, Fufu's going to have to speed up and get out of there as fast as he can. And be okay, but still slightly concerning.
Yeah, although fun fact, I saw a statistic that 6 Crabs for a dragon, 2 dragons is very favored for the team that gets the 2 dragons, just due to the fact that you are hightailing it towards that soul.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I would personally say it's a bit situational. But definitely more often the situation does. With that being said, we've got the hook coming through. Adufuf now getting marked up by the concussive blows, but now teleport's available. Teleport's unleashed. Palm Goat going low. We'll try to find the kill. We'll get one at the very least in return with the flash. That being said, shutdown going on to Adufuf, getting that extra goal now with the Mana Moon complete and the Lost Chapter. Starting to slowly get to that point where that build, where I've seen Kaiser hit 2 items with, well, what will be what will eventually be a fully stacked Mana Moon.
Yeah.
Into the Muramana, but. So I was talking about in the mid lane, Puffle's getting that slight extra push, getting that extra gold as the plates are still up. I doubt they'll be able to get all 5. That being said, I say that, and I do tell a lie, as all 5 plates do go down in the mid lane and the first turret bonus gold. So it is one of those things, Gopher, where I'd say probably it's about a 70-30 split in favor of the Drakes being over 6 Scrubs. But I think we might be in that 30% range this time around, just maybe, as it's coming up.
Cows just spawned here. Because of that teleport bot from Revnon, it does mean Eddie Boy was able to get a lot of alone time in this top side, able to get back some farm here that they were losing, and able to get some plates under their belt as well, because Revnon did not get any assists off that bot lane play, I believe. Dufu, be careful here. Okay. There's going to be the Herald picked up on the top side. Jim Cantor, we'll see what they want to do with that. Just given the fact that they have the 6 Grubs under the belt here, Isaac. It will do a lot of damage. Teleport actually.
Oh, teleport gank. And actually, the Dreadline will land. Palm Goat going low, but that's going to be a massive unbreakable to at least delay this kill, but it just might be long enough as we do get a return here. But These health
Oh,
bars looking
Puffles?
fairly fine. Puffles won't find enough damage onto Mr. Drex, and we'll just have to head away. Only one more auto attack needed for that sun to come through, but Trinity just doesn't have enough damage to fully
Oh, don't walk up Puffles.
complete.
Okay.
Puffles, Mr. Drex within that execute. Right, no, that's the clone. That was an execute.
Because the
I tell a
Ligma
lie.
deleted here. Okay.
Yeah.
The Malignance for Trinity means there's literally no cooldown on their ultimate.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely an interaction that is very, very unfun to play against.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm happy next patch. They're tweaking the cooldown refund on Karma Mantra. Because right now, Malignance, like, yes, you only have one damaging ability, and yes, you do fall off. Karma's Q has a lot of damage put into it just due to the fact that it's her only real reliable damaging ability, and the fact that they want her to be somewhat viable mid lane. It has to do some decent damage so it can clear waves. But if you're able to just constantly spam the mantra Q over and over and over again, it's a little dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You know, honestly, I haven't looked at the changes for I don't look at the changes for patches before they release, and I like to be surprised. So if you don't mind enlightening me on what they're doing, go for it.
So they're changing it from, I think they're changing it to a percentage of the leftover cooldown. Because right now, if you hover over the tooltip for Trinity's passive, you can see
yeah, it
reduces the cooldown of mantra by 5 seconds
yeah.
when she damages a champion with an ability.
Oh.
Combine that with Malignance, you can see why that gets out of hand. But Dragon 3 is up on the map, doing a little bit of damage here to the crabs.
That being said, speaking of crabs, Rift Herald is just one really large cut. That being said, Jin Cantore is trying to do the combat Rift Herald, I guess, but that was definitely ill-advised. So far away from the rest of his team that, yeah, will just be deleted without any sort of fight whatsoever, and that will be the third Drake going over to the side of the Crab's Radiant, and the correct reaction is, in fact,
Like, I think Jim Cantor forgot they had the flash over.
That being said, flash over and the just everything getting committed onto Trinity will ensure that kill coming through.
Now it's 1-for-1, but you give over Soul Point here.
Fierce Blade, living dangerously. Yeah, but as you said, 18-minute Soul Point. That being said, the Fear Beyond Death, the first cast of it will land onto Eddie Boy. Flash is going to be traded, going to get him taken low, but I don't believe that there's much else that they can do. And it will be Eddie Boy feeling all right as he heads out of this one.
Yep. So, I mean, if I'm Crab, I'm feeling happy about that here. 1-for-1, Soul Point, Puffles.
Uh-oh, Puffles, what are you doing there? That's not a safe teleport. Puffles going down will be traded as Jim Cantor is here. Maybe they can actually find a bit more on-side of Esports. But the Ghost is popped as well as the Featherstorm. So, no, actually.
Yeah? Alright,
yeah.
I don't know what that teleport was from Puffles. I understand wanting to save the turret, but there's 3 members there with plenty of CC. And you didn't have the best immediate backup there. So, I guess turret is saved though. So there's that.
Yeah. Oh, my brain is starting to run on emergency power here. Goverino, I'm sorry, but you might have to carry the rest of this cast. I shall do my best, but brain has officially gone into like just life preservation mode, so I don't fall asleep on cast.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Alchemist in a bit of danger here.
Yeah. We should be okay in the immediate aftermath, but as that Unbreakable does go down, won't be able to stop any damage, and without anybody nearby for him to jump to, he's just, well, just honestly deleted is the best way to describe it.
Mhm. Yeah. Four members collapsed on you. I don't think Krabs saw who was on the other side of the wall there. They just only saw Revnon, potentially.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Oh,
that's the killer instinct from Idufuf. Cyclone's
yeah.
available here. You're gonna have to flash.
Yeah, and without any killer instinct, and with the flash still available, and well, actually, I'd have to imagine it was both summoner spells available that heal getting used nearly instantly. That being said, Eddie Boy again in a bit of a strange spot. Glacial Fissure will pick out at least one.
Very
Pierce
low.
Blade going low. Pierce Blade not going down just yet though. Now the counter damage. Here comes the rest of it. Jim Cantoro going to get that first kill. It seems like that might just be it for now, especially with how low some of these health bars are on the side of Con Esports.
And because they have 6 grubs here, they will absolutely smelt through turrets. I don't know what the grub true damage interaction is with Urgot W.
Oh, that is a
It
good
applies
question.
on hits at lowered amounts, and I don't know
That
if the grub count is on there.
that is a good question. I could not answer that, but
Yeah, I don't play Urgot, so I don't know.
yeah. And I haven't seen Urgot played since like season 8, so long before grubs were a thing in the game. So not a lot of time to really test that out on this end, unfortunately. But we can just imagine what it does, I suppose. But before we do that, 30 seconds for you. Do you even remember what the dragon drafts were? Because my brain is just like...
Oh my god.
I know one of us has won it at this point, but like I'm just like, do you ever get like a headache from overthinking way too much?
Not on casting desk, thankfully.
Oh well, I'm kind of hitting that moment. Not strictly because from the series alone, but it's what happens when you take a whole day of classes and then get home and then like immediately cast a series and
Ray Seekers are landing here. Keep in mind, this is Soul if Crab gets it.
it is.
Okay, one Ray Seeker misses.
They don't quite have the easiest way in. That being said, the Dredgeline will land on Trinity, but the damage isn't quite there. Trinity now going down, but at what cost will it be enough? The Cyclone's coming through, but the counter damage just isn't there to find the rest of it. They used all of their cooldowns to find... wait, no, I typed that backwards. I'm dumb.
Yeah, I mean, 1 for 5 there.
That is 1 for 5, but I had the team members and who's playing for who completely backwards, and I just feel so dumb. Do you ever just say something that you just realize once it's come out of your mouth, it's just you can't take it back, and just like, oh my god, that was so stupid.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah, well,
either way, though.
That's me after realizing what I just said. It's awful. It's awful. Just like the situation for the Crabs Radiant. I mean, they are on Soul Point, but the fact that they weren't able to grab it, and now that they're also down as much gold as they are, quick maths, without a brain, that's a 6k gold about. It's not that they definitely can't claim the Infernal Drake. It's just that 6k gold. I think it might be very difficult for them to. And so even though you have that extra pressure from the potential Soul Point, we won't have that for another 4 minutes. And the fights that might come around it might not be favorable, especially if that last fight is anything to go off of.
Yeah, because in that fight, Khan had a pretty decent flank there from Revenon, but they also just started off the fight really well, just instantly bursting Trinity there. And that's what really helped them get off to such a great start in that fight. Adufu being online as this Kaisa, the Prey Seekers are going to really add up here if you're able to land them onto squishier members.
Like he almost did there on Palm Goat.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
the
I've
Mirror Mana
definitely.
proc with the Luden's Gun proc, it's just a lot of burst even without proccing the Plasma passive.
Yeah, but if you can, with the reduced cooldown, if you do land 2 in a row, I have seen champions just disappear in the blink of an eye, or at least their health bars almost completely disappear in the blink of an eye, and in fights before they even begin, and it is pretty disgusting if you can though.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
big
very
if.
fun. Jimkin Tor caught out a little, does have the homies. Revnon in the back line here.
Yeah, Revnon going to try to find his way on the Palm Goat, but just won't quite have the damage there as Palm Goat has all the protection needed from Braum and the Feather Strip, and now the counter engage will come through. A Doofoof will find that first one and falls on the backside, does pick up Palm Goat. And now the Void Seekers going to be a triple kill for a Doofoof. And yeah, this lead is going to balloon once again. 1 for 4.
Teleport bot.
1 for 5 again. Yeah, teleport bot's a bit interesting. I don't believe they would have enough time. I'd have to think that this would say they're saying we don't have enough time to end the game, but it's a bit weird to teleport bot when Baron's up.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they get pressure through the inhibitors, as they absolutely probably will. That is say that, yeah, they're not actually going to get both inhibitors, or at least maybe they will. We'll have to wait and see. It's one of those things as the minions start moving off the screen that there were definitely enough like micro grubs around that one to maybe collect the inhibitor, but it does not look like that will be the case this time around.
Yeah. Only getting 1 inhibitor and that bot lane inhibitor turret. Still pretty big there. We saw just in that small little corridor, the Scatter the Weaks, the spheres coming out from Puffles just doing so much damage to everyone on the side of Crabs right now who haven't itemized any MR whatsoever outside of a stray pair of Merc Treads and that Locket of the Iron Solari here for Alchemists.
Yeah, a bit odd actually, considering there's not the most AD on the side of Con Esports. I mean, Revnon is a bit of a threat, so understandable, but to not have any magic resist at all is a bit strange. I would have to say with the rising popularity of this Luden's Companion build that you surely have to expect Kaisa to run it. But teleport here.
Counter engage.
No Glacial Fissure or Unbreakable now being used by Alchemist. Jim Kentor is going to find the way in, but won't find much more. Revnon going low.
Oh, there's a
these health bars have been taken low on both sides. Fear Beyond Death will find Mr. Drex. That being said, all these health bars are so low, but the heals from the Crypto Blooms, the 2 Crypto Blooms, mind you. It doesn't even matter that their health bars were so incredibly low. So look at this, they're back to full health as soon as they found one of those shutdowns.
Is this game here? There's 25-ish seconds until the next member of Crab.
It might
Multiple
be.
of them do
spawn.
With 6 grubbies
with
here.
6 grubs onto fairly squishy Nexus Drakes, this just might be it. Open Nexus. I don't know what Trinity does to stop this, honestly. Nexus going low. 7 seconds until Mr. Drex comes up, and it just won't matter. That is a fairly sudden end to this game 3, honestly. I didn't know they had the ability to just end there, but here we are sitting with the series concluded over to the side of Con Esports. And yeah. That's a bit of an odd end, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what kind of happens when you get aced right next to your own base like that. This lane of the game, I say this lane of the game, but it's just shy of 29 minutes, but still, either way, they're able to take it here 2-1 in the end. Rally back in this game number 3.
Yeah, so with that, Con Esports takes the series 2-1 in week 3 of Blue Otters Masters. Since it was a fairly late emergency call, I don't actually know what the with their records are for the season, Go Farino. You can update us on that maybe.
I didn't check the records before this game because
Oh
I was
well.
a little busy. So
Uh,
yeah.
well, whatever they might be, Con Esports picks up another one in the wins column. And so, with that in mind, I have been Isaac. Alongside me has been Go Burrito. Operating everything behind the scenes has been Artful Dodger, and I would like to thank everybody here at Blue Water League and everybody tuning in to this matchup for well doing just that, for us having this ability to cast here. So with that in mind, I say goodnight and I go rest my brain for a bit because ugh.
Yep, and we'll catch everybody here next week for week number 4 of the Masters League. And yeah, it'll be me returning. I don't know who will be on production. Hyper will still be out, so we'll need another sub next week. But yeah, catch all you gamers next week.
I'm afraid
be
it won't
sure to
be.
tune in to Blue Otter. We have more action this week. I forget the exact schedule. Off my head.
I know
Thursday.
on Thursday I am casting Diamond between Mad Magical. Not Mad Magical. That's who I'm casting with. My brain's already off. It's Art of War Esports and We Love Soulbert Mishmash Edition on Thursday. As opposed to that, I don't know. I've actually started the notes for that this morning, but other than that, yeah. I hope I'll see you on Thursday and honestly every other day until then. But with that in mind, have a good night from everyone at Blue Water League.